if you want to have a successful relationship and friendship with your horse, you need to go and establish a really good communication with your horse, a common language, and to establish that dialogue with your horse. And it's not necessary that you learn to speak horse, that you learn to pin your ears and swish your tail. Like for example, I don't know, if you can do that, wiggle with your ears, it's really hard. If you can go ahead and practice it. My granddad was really good at that, for example, but it's not necessary. All you have to do is establish a commonly understood language that is understood by you and your horse. But the question really is, how can we have that kind of communication with our horses? Because the fact is, horses and humans are opposite species. A horse is a prey animal, human is predator. So fact is, we do speak really different languages. And maybe you know, or maybe you don't know, a Hindi or an Indian, when they shake their head like that, it means no. And when they shake their head like this, it means yes. So it's a really weird fact. And how can you possibly know what they're trying to tell you if you don't know about that? And even if you know about that, it's just it's really difficult to understand if you don't speak the same language. And especially when we want to teach something to our horse, like this year I'm going to start Tara on the saddle, so I'm going to have to explain to her all kind of pretty difficult things. We need to establish a language with the horse can understand, and that we can communicate effectively. So for me, to communicate effectively with a horse, there are two elements. One element is to establish that common language. Nein, Tara. To establish a language that we both agree on and we both can understand. So that we can really effectively talk about going left and right, going forward and backwards, and that I have a way and means to explain more complex tasks to my horse. And the second element would be that I establish a dialogue. That it's not just a one-way communication, that my horse receives orders and is just the executor, but that the horse is a participating partner and asks me questions and knows that he can fully involve and participate in that dialogue. Because I don't want my horses to be just a robot. And to establish that, I like to teach all my horses and the horses I get in training, in the first session I have with these horses, a little exercise I like to call the touch it game. And with this game, you ask your horse to investigate all kind of objects you planted in your arena or in the field you're going to work your horse. And because horses are naturally so curious, they will want to go and check out those objects anyway. So it's an exercise any horse learns super quickly and easily. And when you send your horse from one object to the other, you establish in a very playful way this common language. You establish understanding in your horse what it means that your horse learns to understand your body language and what it means when you use your tools in a certain way to communicate about going forward, about stopping at the object, and about going left and right. So they're really the basic communications you need. And the second element of that exercise is that you can really quickly establish that element of being in a dialogue with your horse. Because when the horse touches the object, you're going to praise your horse. You're going to let your horse know that he did something right. And like that, your horse will very quickly start to ask you questions back. Your horse will look at you with pricked ears like that, kind of saying, hey, did I do that good? I'm so smart. Are you proud of me? So like that, with this little exercise, it's really fun. You enter very quickly in a real dialogue with your horse where you understand each other. And then you have a solid basis to explain to your horse more complex things. My name is Gabi Neurer from GabiNeurer.com. I hope you found this little video helpful. If you know somebody who would benefit from it as well, please feel free to share. Until then, have a nice time with your horse.